Dear friends, today we are going to have an introduction to nature of language. My dear friends, you know that language is an integral part of human life. Despite this fact that language is a species specific to human beings, language is an integral part of human life. It is present everywhere. It is part and parcel of human society, and that integral aspect of human life is very much associated with language. We cannot do anything without language. All affairs, all human affairs without language are just out of nothing. Therefore, language is an integral part of life, and very difficult to define language. Why? It is as complex as human life. Therefore, scholars prefer to have various definitions of language instead of having one definition. So each writer, each author, each expert in the study of language, in the field of language, tries to give definition of language from his own point of view. Still, that definition is incomplete. So it's better to have one definition, more definitions together collected as characteristics of language, rather than having one definition of language. So, before we talk about characteristics of language, we'll have definitions of famous experts in the field of language studies. Definitions of language. Edward Sapir. What Edward Sapir is very important. He says language is a means of communication by means of speech sound. Another linguist, in his book called History of Linguistics, talks about an important aspects of language in his definition. He says language is a symbol system, infinitely modifiable and extendable according to changing needs of the society. So, of course, there are many more definitions, but these are one of the two definitions of language. Let us have discussion of characteristics of language so that we have comprehensive understanding of human language. Language is human. Language is a special gift given to God by mankind, given to mankind by God. It is species specific. This kind of language is not to be found in other types of species. That's why it is said that language is purely human affair. Language is social. There is inseparable connection between language and society. Language has only one function, and that of fulfilling social requirements of members of the society. Language is non-instinctive. Language is such a phenomenon that one has to acquire that particular ability through efforts, through practice. That's why it is said that language is non-instinctive. It is not inherited. Language is arbitrary. Human language is arbitrary because there is no logical connection between language and its meaning. The relationship between word and its meaning is conventional. It is not logical. It is based on certain conventions set by social members. That's why language is arbitrary. Language is systematic. Language is structured. Language is organized. Language has set patterns, and that's why it is known as systematic affair. Language is symbolic. Sounds, words in language are used as symbols, and they express something, and therefore there is a connection between words and symbols, and that's why it is said that language is symbolic. Language is sound. Here there is a difference between speech and writing. Speech is primary and writing is secondary. So human beings start speaking before they start writing, and that's why they produce sounds, and from sounds we have words, from words we have sentences. In this sense, language is sound. R.A. Hudson, in his book called A Course in Modern Linguistics, talks about special properties of human language. These properties are known as special properties because they are not found with other kinds of species when they communicate with other fellow beings, birds, animals, and we have got some animals who communicate their messages. But language is absent, and therefore they are known as special properties of language. Duality of pattern. Human language has got at least two kinds of patterns. Therefore, it is known as duality of patterns. Human language is highly creative. With the help of